taking a look at Nico Raskins passing and positioning in Rangers' 4-2 win over Hearts yesterday in the SPFL Premier League. I want to work back from the habits that I've seen forming and then look at the goal. Here, Nico Raskin could open his body up, move a couple of yards, it would open up a pass into Skov Olsen. Rangers could then transfer the play, but what Rangers seemed to want to do was building this back three, so 3-4 players including Butland behind the whole line of Hearts, in the hope that Hearts would jump and press Rangers and create those overloads against the backline where Rangers could probably play a bit quicker, a bit higher. What actually ended up happening was Rangers were kind of relying on John Souttar and Manny Fernandez to break lines and try and break lines. Both are more than capable of doing so. I've done a video on Manny Fernandez before. John Souttar has such an underrated passing ability. I think people are only just starting to realise just how valuable John Souttar is to Rangers and Scotland going into this World Cup. But my issue with that setup is, although Raskin gets filled here, it just feels like everyone's too deep. Nico Raskin is the ball hunter that you want on top of second balls. Here, Chukwani is very surrounded by Hearts players. If we want to ever try that pass into Chukwani there, Rangers are going to struggle. Hearts are going to have numbers around the ball. And if they break, that kind of Raskin, Fernandez, Souttar situation is so wide open that Hearts could counter-attack. But I understood completely tactically what Rangers were trying to do. They were trying to either free up Mikey Moore to come short or Skov Olsen to come short, get the fullbacks high, get one of the opposite kind of two attacking mids and the two strikers across Hearts' backline so you could flood high their area. So it was very clear what Rangers were trying to do. But what happened a lot was Nico Raskin tended to be the deepest line playmaker. We've seen Motherwell last week. Now, Rangers are never going to play like this. But there's a fantastic ball by Nico Raskin. That's the kind of passing I would love to see being used in behind the line of the Hearts attacking midfielders or strikers and breaking into the final third. I would love to see more of those. They're called kind of high packing passes where you take out 3, 4, 5 players and have Nico Raskin develop that part of his game where he's shown his passing ability instead of here where he's picking the ball up 5 yards. Jack Butland could step into that space and Nico Raskin could have been behind Beningham's line and Rangers could actually provoke a press that way, but it felt like Rangers were just trying to get numbers in transition high up the park for their two strikers, for their fullbacks, so that they could create quick attacks. But again, what tended to happen was this kind of play here where Rangers were having to go quite direct into that line. I mean, very unlucky, and it's just another example of the types of passing that Nico Raskin does have available to him. I would just love to see it closer to the attacking play and have him be more of a dictating six and prove that he could be the one that does that position. And it would actually serve him so much better for the World Cup coming up with Belgium because he's going to play that role. And if he can start to find their attacking midfielders and their other six behind the line of people, because the way Rangers are playing, it kind of leaves him open to doing a lot of running here. He ends up, instead of being a counter press moment, he ends up running out for 40 yards to shut down. If Hearts play a clever pass down the line here, Braga's in with his pace, John Souttar's 1v1 with a chance to go in the goalkeeper, but Rangers defend it well, recover possession, and we go. But this behind the line, I just never understand teams that are so comfortable never actually being aggressive. Here, Fernandez wide, Souttar wide, Nico Raskin cannot drive into this pass that he tries to make. He needs to play it wide, he needs to hold his position, because if he lost this ball, Hearts could break and Fernandez and Souttar are wildly apart. In the end, Rangers recover brilliantly. Chukwani follows the runner. Fernandez is spare, so he's able to drop off 10 yards and pick up that, which is actually another bit of Fernandez's play that's so vastly improved his positional understanding. But it's about doing less for me. Doing less, and Nico Raskin can do more. If he plays the pass now, he takes out 4 Hearts players and he's in a counter-pressing position, which means he's goal side at Aguirre. Instead, he decides to play a pass and run after it, which means that Aguirre, in transition for Hearts, is behind the line of Chukwani and Raskin, and if Hearts get a better touch here, they're in. But John Souttar reads it well, Raskin recovers well, but instead of being on top of play goal side, he's having to do all that energy running back in place when he was kind of in charge. And this is a perfect example of what I would love to see him do more of. Win the ball, take the ball, pass the ball, and then be structurally disciplined to stay in this position, so that if the ball ever gets lost, he's on to press right away. Mikey Moore could have played this into Scott Olsen. It's a very tight area, but Mikey Moore's capable of this pass, by the way. And Nadiri would have been running through, Shamiti would have been running through, Rangers would have been 4-on-4. But this is the benefit of Nico Raskin if he does less. If he runs about less, if he plays his pass and picks up his positioning, he wins it back. A little bit sloppy with the pass there, but it's the right pass. And again, look at the position he's in. Goal side. Able to put pressure on the ball and also protect his back four. That is the type of discipline that's going to get him the move to the top 5 leagues if he really develops and understands just that element of doing less. Because his passing range can be there. I have no doubts about his technical ability. You do not come into the Belgian national side without technical ability. Here's an example of staying behind the line. Goes to Suter. Fernandes tries the hard pass, but when it breaks, Nico Raskin is in that counter-press position. He's in the second ball space. And that is where Nico Raskin's intelligence and instincts come to life. So for me, it's just about picking up those areas in midfield. This is an example of what Mikey Moore does in that area. Is gives the ball, half-turn body. The body position is so key here because he can go forward with it now. Rangers almost break out. Chukwani starts to move into the middle because he recognises that there's a counter-press position. There's also a chance to recycle the ball. But that positioning of what Mikey Moore did is exactly what I would love to see Nico do, because this is a great example of winning the ball and then taking 5 players out of the game with one forward pass in a disciplined area. This is where Nico Raskin needs to live. He needs to, if he wants to play number 6 for Rangers and is going to play number 6 for Belgium, he needs to live in that zone of get the ball, break a line, then protect the team in a counter-pressing position centrally, because when Hearts start to break, Nico Raskin's where it needs to be. It's just so important. This is the type of stuff that will get him noticed at the World Cup. Now, I looked at his body position earlier. This is potentially a technical issue. Nico Raskin would receive the ball with this body position. He'd receive it even more closed than this. So when Fernandes is looking for him, I think he thinks that Nico Raskin still wants this ball. Nico Raskin's looking straight at him. Fernandes recognises this as a ball. So that's that body shape that Nico Raskin would receive on. But Nico Raskin turns his back on play completely here, instead of coming towards play. Both players are probably 50% to blame. I understand Nico probably thinking it was going to go longer. I understand Fernandes thinking Nico was wanting the ball. This is a perfect example for those asking about the back three build. What Rangers wanted to see happen more, but Hearts just didn't press high, didn't go man for man. Chukwani waits for the press to come. Nico Raskin's perfectly positioned behind the line. A better touch, and Rangers have got 5-on-5 with Nico on the ball. You could pick out any number of passes here to break lines and create chances. Unfortunate touch. Now, this is just before the goal. Now, this is my problem with the not having the 2 sitters or not having a proper building in that flat three. When this transitions for Hearts, if they get this pass right here, they're 5-on-2. 5-on-2 with runners with pace. That could have been 2-0 to Hearts. That could have been a very different and difficult result to come back from, and a very different title race. All moments in football. Rangers win it back. Romans plays a brilliant combination with Mikey Moore. Rangers eventually, through an own goal, get the equaliser 1-1, and Rangers go on to win the game.